Very good morning from Dubai. It's still morning here. I know it may be afternoon in India, and I don't know where else you're joining us from. It'll be uh, late evening in Australia. It'll be very early morning if you're joining us from Europe, and it'll be almost night if you're joining us from the Americas. But it's a big day coming up for the Indian team, and the format of the tournament is such that one bad day and then you are in a situation where every game is a do or die situation. That's how the format has been of this tournament. See, India did so well in the first group stage, but those wins now count for nothing. One loss because Super 4 starts from scratch. One loss against Pakistan, which was always going to be a tough game. One loss has now put you in a situation where it's a do or die encounter. That's how unforgiving the format of this tournament has been. And for everyone who has been hoping to see India versus Pakistan final, you'd first hope that you get to see India beat Sri Lanka first, and then they'll have to look at what happens in the game versus Afghanistan. So both games are going to be must win. Just to let you know a bit of the format of this tournament, if you haven't been following, it's 4 teams in this stage. Each plays the other team once, so it's like a round robin, and the top 2 teams in terms of points then qualify. So what does this mean for India? If India were to lose to Sri Lanka today, they are all but out. I'm only saying all but out. Mathematically, they will still have a chance, in which case the results of other teams will be only able to help them to qualify for the final. So what would India have to do if in case they were to lose to Sri Lanka? They would have to hope that Sri Lanka goes ahead and beats every other team in their group, so they top with 3 wins. They already have 1, and if they were to beat, and it's a big if they were to beat India, then they'll have 2 wins. Then you'd hope that Sri Lanka beats Pakistan and India beat Afghanistan and Afghanistan beat Pakistan, in which case there could be a scenario where Sri Lanka end up with 3 wins, they top the group, and then 3 other teams with 1 win apiece, and then run rate comes into the play. But I think that's going to be highly unlikely. So pretty much today's game is a do or die. India win, they will be in contention to make it to the final. If they lose, they're all but out. They'll only have to pray to the Almighty, hoping that they can make it, so which is very unlikely. So as I said, unforgiving format, but that's the way it is. We saw it at the T20 World Cup as well last time. You had 2 bad games and you were out. So this is something teams prepare for, they get used to. So you cannot offer any excuses. You'll have to come up with your best performance. Looking at this India versus game, India versus Sri Lanka game, I was just looking at the records. So records are favoring India a lot. I think from 2018 onwards they've played 10 games, if I'm not mistaken, 10 T20Is, and India won 7, Sri Lanka only 3, and out of those 3, 2 came against a second string Indian team. So overall stocks, if you look at the stats or you look at the probability of a team winning, you'd have to say that India do seem like the favourites to win. But it's a T20 contest, you never know. I'll get to the playing 11, what the conditions are, all the latest updates from here. I'll just take this question. It's come from the UK, must be very early for you. Revat, he says, love from London. Do you think the Indian team will go with 5 bowlers given the fact that they did not bowl Huda in the last match? Good question, Revat, and I will try and answer that. I was going to get to the playing 11. Firstly, as I mentioned, record is great for India, and record for Sri Lanka batting first is also not great. I'll get to that as well, how the toss is going to play a crucial role, what are the conditions here, are they due here or not. Now let's start with the playing 11. Now the information that I've got from the Indian camp here in Dubai is that Avesh Khan, who was running fever for the last few days, he's better in the sense he may be available for selection. So that is one thing that has been sorted. He may be available for selection. Whether the Indian team wants to pick him or not, that's another thing that we can discuss as I go along in this video, but he most likely is available for selection for this game. Okay, let's now pay attention to what India might go to. If you ask me, I think India's best combination would have to be with 6 bowlers. And last time they went in with 6 bowlers because you were looking at Deepak Huda as the 6th bowling option. But if Rohit Sharma did not bowl him as that 6th bowling option, then that tells you that maybe they do not have that kind of faith in Deepak Huda's bowling ability. And also on a day, I can understand if all 5 bowlers are doing well, but I'm talking about on a day where bowlers were going for a lot of runs. Hardik was going for a lot of runs. Chahal was going for a lot of runs. You had an option. You could have tried Deepak Huda's 1 over, especially at the time Nawaz was batting. A left-hander was in. He was batting very well. And if you needed to change the game a bit, you could have brought in the off-spinner. So the conditions were there. The match situation was there. The kind of batsman that you want to bowl an off-spinner to was there. Everything was there. Yet the captain did not go with Deepak Huda. That tells me that they don't have too much faith in his bowling ability. There's nothing wrong or right. Of course, Rohit would know better, and he would know which bowler to go to and what would be his best option to win. But if he saw that that wasn't the best option, then that tells you they do not have too much faith in Deepak Huda. So that's that. So if Deepak Huda is not going to bowl, I may not be able to fit him in my 11. So for me, then Deepak Huda goes out, Akshar Patel comes in, because he is a bowling all-rounder. He can, but the number of deliveries that Huda batted, 14, 15, if that's the kind of chance that he'll get. And remember, Pant and Hardik didn't have great games, Sky as well, so the middle order didn't have great games. On most situations, if you see in this tournament, the lower middle order hasn't even gotten a chance to bat. So maybe if Deepak Huda is going to bat so low, his chance may not come only, and you want the top order to do. So if that is the case, then you might as well have a bowling all-rounder and an Akshar Patel, because bowling definitely you will need the 6th bowling option. Batting might not come. So I will go for a bowling all-rounder. So for Deepak Huda, I would want the Indian team to switch and bring in Akshar Patel. So that's one change that I would like to see. The other change, I think, which the Indian team must do, and Krishna Pratap Singh is also prompting me to and leading me there, is Dinesh Karthik. I think DK needs to come back, and I'll give you reasons for that. You have gone in with Pant, and I understood why they went with Rishabh Pant, maybe because they needed a left-hander batsman, because Pakistan had 2 spinners that were taking the ball away from the right-hander batsman. So they wanted someone to bring the ball into the left-hander. To make use of that, they sent in Pant, which is understandable, because Shadab and Nawaz both, one a left-arm spinner, one a leg spinner, were taking the ball away from a right-hander. So you send a left-handed batsman. Now, versus Sri Lanka, there will only be one such bowler in Hasaranga who takes the ball away. Tikshana is a mystery spinner, so he'll bowl either ways. But I mean, just looking at one pure bowler taking the ball away from a right-hander, you've got only one. So with that in mind, you may not need a left-hander batsman in your top order like you needed against Pakistan that the Indian team went with. What does that tell you? Remember, Dinesh Karthik started this tournament ahead of Pant. That means in the minds of the Indian team, he is ahead in that pecking order. So if that is the case, and if there is no need then to have too many left-handers batting higher up the order, then I think DK comes in. Also, DK hasn't had a bad tournament. He never got even a chance to bat in the 2 games he played. It was only the team combination that you went with. So DK then for me comes back. Another thing why I think Indian team needs to make that change is that if you look at Rishabh Pant, where is his best batting position in T20 cricket? Look at the IPL record also. It's in the top 4. Top 4 is the place where Rishabh Pant should bat, so that the Indian team can get the best out of him. Now, does Rishabh Pant fit into the top 4? In this top 4, I don't think so. Your top 4 are KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav. He cannot bat ahead of them. Those are your best top 4 right now, or at least the team thinks that's the best top 4. So if Rishabh Pant is going to bat any lower than the top 4, then you might as well take a batsman who's Rishabh Pant's not best suited for after top 4. But Dinesh Karthik is best suited not in the top 4 but below, so you might as well go with the best option, and which is why I think Dinesh Karthik then should come back into that and slot in instead of Pant. So these 2 changes I would like to see, and I think that would be the best balance to the team. One is Akshar Patel coming in for Deepak Huda, the other Dinesh Karthik coming in for Rishabh Pant, just looking at the balance of the team. Now the third change that Indian team can ponder over is Avesh Khan. As I said, he will be available for selection, but the 2 things that Indian team would have to look at, that yes, his femur may have gone, but is he fit enough, or should you risk someone who's just coming off a viral fever suddenly into a game? maybe not, because it's also very hot here in Dubai. I know the temperatures reduce, but even in the evening, let me tell you, it's around 35 degrees. So still very hot. Do you want to take that risk, or do you stay with Bishnoi? If you ask me, I wouldn't mind staying with Bishnoi, because Bishnoi did have a good game. When a lot of Indian bowlers went for runs, Bishnoi did have a good game versus Pakistan. So if you ask me, and remember, Avesh hasn't been having a great tournament even before this. So you ask me, 2 changes for India. Rishabh Pant should come in for Dinesh Karthik should come in for Rishabh Pant, and the other Akshar Patel coming in for Deepak Chahar. That would be my ideal playing 11 against Sri Lanka. I think that will be the strongest team. Having said that, if the Indian team does go in with Avesh, I don't think it makes a huge difference between Bishnoi and Avesh. I would prefer Bishnoi. We're also seeing the pitches here in Dubai tire as the tournament goes along, because they are being reused. The weather is very hot, and as pitches tire, the spinners tend to do well. So won't be a bad option to play 3 spinners. Maybe the Indian team can look at, and in which case you go with Bishnoi. I would rather go with Bishnoi. But if the Indian team were to go with Avesh instead of Bishnoi, I don't think it will be a big surprise. I think the gap between these 2 things isn't very big. Okay, Rahul Vasudev joining us from Australia. Must be evening there. Rahul is saying, can't agree more. DK is undoubtedly best at number 6, at number 7 batter in India currently. Also, Huda at 7 is wasted, especially if you don't want to bowl Akshar in. Is ideal. Absolutely, Rahul, and that's why I think when I went with my 11, I think Huda had a decent game with the bat, so no reason just to drop him. But if you're just going to look at the combination of the team, I think he will have to make way for Akshar Patel. I know there are a few comments about Ashwin as well, and I know they have 3 left-handers in the Sri Lankan team. Can they go in with Ravichandran Ashwin? I doubt, because I think the best time, and I'm just looking at the team management's point of view, if the best time to have inducted him into the playing 11 was the last game, where Akshar had just landed, wasn't really available, maybe that was the best option, but they didn't go with him there. I doubt whether they will go in with him now. But if they were to go, it's again a marginal difference between Akshar and Ashwin. I think Akshar will be slightly ahead when it comes to, but you're right that maybe because of 3 left-handers, you go in with a bowler. That could be an option that the Indian team tries. Eventually, what you would want, what I would want, and what most folks would want is to India to feel the strongest team, and I think the strongest team is only when they are playing 6 bowlers, and I'm not counting Deepak Chahar in that, because it's clear now that the Indian team doesn't really look at him as the 6th bowling option. So you have to play 6 bowlers. So Chahar will have to make way, unfortunately, for a bowler. I think Akshar Patel is slightly ahead because of the batting also that he brings with him, and you would need someone batting at 7. So he's slightly ahead. He comes in, but if Ashwin was to come, the only risk you run is your batting gets slightly thin. But then the point is, your 7 sometime may not get a chance to bat as well. More often than not, it's your top order that's been performing, and also your middle order will not always have a bad day, like last time where Pant, Hardik, Sky, none of them got going. So again, the Indian team has to look at best option. Akshar comes in for Deepak Chahar, and Dinesh Karthik comes in for Rishabh Pant. The balance of the team, I'm just looking at the balance, not looking at the form and just the kind of performance one has had. So if someone has had a bad performance, you take him out. I'm not looking at that. Just purely in terms of team balance, I think this would be the best combination. Aditya is saying, so we are missing you in the dugout. I'm missing the dugout too, but I'm here ground zero trying to give you the latest update. Pranay is saying Ashwin can bat too. Absolutely, but I'm saying if you had to pick a better batsman within Akshar and Ashwin, then I think Akshar edges it. But as I said, between the two, marginal difference, you could go with either. I would just have Akshar Patel slightly ahead, but if India were to go with Ashwin also, I don't think that's a big mistake that they would be making. That'd be perfectly fine too. Tanuj is asking DK or Pant. Tanuj, I already answered that. Ashwin for UZ, someone is saying, I don't think that will happen. Yes, UZ Chahal hasn't had the best tournament. Maybe it is time for him to, figure out. But just as we, I can't understand. Just as we give a long rope to our batsmen when they are out of form or they have a few bad games, established batsmen, why don't we do that with bowlers? And I think UZ Chahal, we kept saying before this tournament started, is probably your best bowler that you have, an outstanding performer, and so why will we not give him a long rope? Yes, he's gone for a few runs. I think what he needs to do is just step back, think about what's going wrong, maybe bowl slightly quicker. I think he what I like about Yuzi is always never afraid to give flight, and is not afraid to get hit. Also look at his battle with Fakhar. Didn't mind Fakhar hitting him, but got him out also that way in Pakistan. So he has a big heart. I like that about him. But maybe in certain situations he need to bowl slightly quicker in these conditions here in Dubai. And maybe this is something he'll work on. Also, he's gotten a bit predictable with bowling wide outside the off stump for the right-handers. I think batsmen have tended to pick that. Maybe he would have spent that last 24 hours, 40 hours or so to figure out where the weaknesses are, and I think he'll think about it. Now to the other interesting bit is toss, and I think toss will be crucial. Last game versus Pakistan, I was at the ground and we did see some dew, so that is a worrying sign because that makes toss very important. Anyway, chasing has been better here in UAE, but if the dew starts coming, it gets even worse. But the good thing I'll report, today I was looking at the weather forecast, it's expected to be around 35 degrees in the evening when the match is happening, so that is also very hot. Imagine even at that time. So in such hot conditions you don't usually get dew, and if you're not going to get dew, then maybe toss will not play a very important role. And as an Indian fan, you would want that, because I think if you were to compare two teams, man versus man, India is slightly better. But as soon as the toss comes into play, then that evens things out if the slightly weaker team wins the toss. So you wouldn't want that to happen. You would want India to take that advantage of being a better team, and then the toss not being that advantageous to the team that wins. So in that front, I think today you might not get a lot of dew. We didn't see a lot of dew in majority of the games. I only saw it in the last India-Pakistan game, but because today it's supposed to be very hot, toss may not be very crucial. But looking at Sri Lanka, I think from 2021, I was seeing their stats, they lose about 80% of their games if they've been made to bat first. They chase very well, batting first is not their thing. They've not been doing well, so for them it's a worrying sign. But that the Indian team, even if they were to bat first, that they can be competitive even then. So that's why I say slightly better. But then again, Sri Lanka on a winning streak, they'll be looking for a hat-trick of wins. 2 wins back-to-back against 2 decent teams in Bangladesh and a good team in Afghanistan. That would have given them a lot of confidence. Their spinners are going to be crucial in Hasaranga, Thiksana. Their all-rounders, Dasun Shanaka, the captain, can bowl. Karuna Ratne can bowl, so they've got decent all-rounders. Hasaranga himself is an all-rounder, can pack a punch when he comes out to bat, so it's not going to be an easy game. Kusal Mendes is in outstanding form this entire tournament, so he'd be a very crucial wicket right on top that India would want. You'd want someone like a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar to get him out early. That's where the game can be set up. I know a lot of you are asking me about updates of players, of Avesh and all. Just go back into the video and I've given that. Aditya is Kavlekar is asking why Gujarat Titans today. Generally, I just got this jersey I had with me. Gujarat Titans had sent it with my name on it, so I just carried it with me and I just wore it today. No particular reason, but when I head to the ground, I'll be in different clothes. This is just now before I head to the ground. The game is still a distant way, so when I'm at the ground, then I will be wearing a different one. Just generally, maybe this will bring some luck to Hardik Pandya. You want a firing Hardik Pandya both with the bat and the ball for India to win. So maybe that's why. Rajat, good question. Will there be a dent in India's confidence ahead of World T20 if they don't make it to the finals of the Asia Cup? Of course it will be. It's a very crucial tournament. We heard it from Rahul Dravid, where he said it in as many words that they've not just come to this tournament to prepare for the T20 World Cup. They've come here to win this tournament. And if you don't, in a tournament where you are expected to win because you're the most successful team and the strongest, the least that was expected is to play the finals. So if Indian team falls short of that, that will be a major dent to their confidence. Absolutely. Does Tewatia get a chance? I don't think so. That is going to happen. Cricket fan says get Rahul to keep and play Ashwin and Akshit. That won't happen. That is not going to happen. You will, I think, have Dinesh. I mean, that's anything can happen at the end of the day, but I do not think the Indian team is going down that road. If they had, they would have been given some indication. That hasn't happened. So I think DK comes in today, just looking at the balance of the team. Same playing 11, no. CP, Raval, no. Suyog Kulkarni saying Sky is an overrated player, and I couldn't disagree with you more. I will tell you, he is, I'm not even mincing my words, the best T20 batsman in the Indian lineup. And I'm saying it keeping in mind Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Hardik Pandya, Virat Kohli, everyone. He is the best T20 batsman. You have to see the way, I mean, he needs to be more consistent, and I'm sure he realizes that. But he's the highest rated also in the ICC rankings, despite batting at that tough position that he does. I do not agree with that. He's outstanding. Jay is asking, why is Vikrant not there with you? He's taken a break. He had a lot of work to do there in Delhi. But, keep your fingers crossed. India make it to the finals, then he'll be back here. So, I'm going to take a few questions. Why not Deepak Chahar? Rudur Bhardwaj is asking, and I saw a lot of you ask that question about Deepak Chahar. Why not Deepak Chahar? Because Deepak Chahar has not been inducted into the 15, so they cannot have him in the playing 11 suddenly. If you want to play him, you will have to write, the procedure is, he's a backup player, you will have to write official email to the organizing committee here of the Asian Cricket Council, and then they will allow you a permission that you could switch players. So one person has to go out of the 15, the other can come in. But that process has to be done. That hasn't happened. If that had happened, Deepak Chahar walks into my 11. We were debating just now who plays, and I said, okay, Bishnoi had a good game, play with 3 spinners, play Bishnoi. I wouldn't bring Avesh in, even though he's available for selection in this game. That's primarily because Avesh has also not been having a good tournament. But if it was Deepak Chahar, I would say no thinking, bring Deepak Chahar in. He's been bowling very well in the nets. I've been watching him. So then it would be a no-brainer. Bring him directly. But he is not available. So he'll not be available for selection today. He has to be brought into the 15 first, which the Indian team hasn't done. I don't quite agree with it, but that's what the team management has thought. Ajay is saying, will India make it to the final? Well, we're all waiting for that. I think they should, but for that they need to win their remaining games in Sri Lanka and Afghanistan. Not going to be easy. But if I had to pick one team who's favourite going into both those games, clearly India is. Nikhil is asking me, Nikhil sir, why is Ashwin selected if not going to play him in the 11? But that happens. A lot of times you have players that are in the 11. Surely they had certain plans for him to play. Maybe they were, again, if you had to try him, maybe the Hong Kong game was a good game to try him. You could have also looked at him in the last game, primarily because you had a big blow in Jadeja going out. Even and Akshar, as I said, had just come, not even was available. Just come a few hours, so maybe the Indian team didn't want to risk him. So that was a perfect situation to go with him, but they didn't play him. Clearly, they have plans, maybe versus certain opposition, certain matchups that they're looking at. That's why. But yeah, I was a bit surprised he didn't play the last game. Rajat is saying Harshal has been a big miss. Absolutely. In fact, Rahul Dravid said that the other day. He said, this is pretty much the team that will go for the T20 World Cup. But of course, Bumrah and Harshal just walk in. He's a big miss. It tells you what he can do with the death overs. And I think India leaked a few runs in the death. So that is the Bumrah and Harshal being there would have made a major difference to this Indian team's performance. But all I'm saying is don't panic. Listen, it's just one loss that India has had. They're still, I think the best team in the tournament. Pakistan, are matching them step by step. But it's still a good team. It's still 1-1 between India and Pakistan. So that's that. If you joined me a little late, go back. I've given all the updates from here. What could be the likely playing 11, the matchups, India, Sri Lanka. It's going to be a long day for me, long day for you guys. Very crucial game, must-win game for India. I'm sure you'd be glued to your television sets. I'll be at the ground giving you all the latest updates. So see you a little later. Maybe I'll get a few fans to join me once I'm at the ground in a few hours from now. For the moment, bye-bye. Nikhil Nas signing off from Dubai. Okay. Somebody said you want to see a bit of Dubai. Okay, let me just give you a view of my view right now. There you go. Beautiful Dubai skyline. That is the Burj Khalifa there. Oh boy, it's too tall to be caught on my camera, but it's there. So this is downtown Dubai. Pretty hot right now, more than 40 degrees. The stepping out is crazy. Thankfully the players are playing a little late in the evening. Yeah, a good point about power play. Power play wickets are needed, you know. But India got in that first game versus Pakistan. They picked up, and I think Hardik becomes crucial then. Bhuvi always is trustworthy, but he needs support at the other end. He's clearly missing his bowling partner in Jasprit Bumrah. But Hardik, that's why becomes very crucial. Even at that time, Avesh got you that wicket. He was expensive, but got you a wicket in the power play in the Pakistan game. So maybe then that could be a reason they go in with him in this game, since he's available for selection. But otherwise, he hasn't had a great tournament so far. Shankar is saying Ashwin in for Chahal because of 3 left-handers. I don't see that happening. If Ashwin comes in, he would come in for Deepak Huda. I think so. But you never know. I do not see Chahal being dropped, and I mentioned it earlier in the video. I think he's not had a great tournament, but we give batsmen a long rope. Why not someone like UZ Chahal? But I wouldn't be surprised. See, the team has been doing a lot of experiments. They could do anything. My best 11 I picked earlier, and I'm sure a lot of you have different views, but my best 11 is that with 2 changes that I mentioned earlier. So check the video out if you haven't already. Finally, now signing off. Bye bye. See you later.